Folks, today we're going to compare the best retirement plans and pensions, tell you the difference between qualified and non-qualified money, and show you what the best plan available is out there, bar none. So we'll just take a few minutes here and tell you the difference. A qualified plan qualifies for tax breaks, instant gratification. We'll talk about it in just a little bit. This is your most popular plans, the 401k, IRA, 403b. People do it because of the tax break, and it's really the worst thing you could possibly do. So the advantage is your contributions are tax advantaged. The money in distribution when you retire is taxable. There's no death benefit, there's no critical illness rider, and you have market risk. Now, qualified money is kind of just the opposite. There's no contributions. You don't get a tax break on those, but the money is tax-free in retirement. There's no tax benefit or death benefit. There's no critical illness rider. And depending on the plan you have, unless you've got something safe like a CD, most of the plans are still going to have some form of market risk. Now, the best plan out there is, by far, is going to be tax-free distributions. It's going to have a death benefit. It's going to have a critical illness rider, and there's going to be no market risk. So, first of all, let's talk about taxes. All right, taxes. Now, this is why taxes are so big, depending on which side you want to go on, and I'm going to prove to you why you want to go with tax-free distributions. So let's take an example of a 31-year-old, and he's contributing $500 a month or $6,000 a year, and the money is going to grow at 7.5% interest, and it's going to grow, and he's in a 33 1/3% tax bracket. Okay. Now, that being the case, if he's in a 401k on this side, he's going to get $2,000 a year tax break. And that's why they do it, called instant gratification. All right? Now, when he's 65 years old, this person, he or she, the money is now at $1 million. And he's saved $68,000. $68,000 on his taxes. Sounds pretty good so far, right? Now, let's assume the same variables apply. He's still going to have 7.5% growth, and he's still going to be at a 33 1/3% tax bracket. Now, traditional logic says that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket, and we know people are coming around and realizing that's really not necessarily the case anymore because the kids are gone and the house is paid off. All right, so you lost your two best tax breaks, and taxes are going up. All right, so we might be generous by saying he's actually in the same tax bracket. But let's continue on here and assume the person wants to retire with interest-only payments and not touch the $1 million, $75,000 a year. But the problem is he's got a partner in retirement known as the IRS. And IRS has got its hand out, and it's going to want tax money. It's time to pay the piper. $25,000 a year in taxes. Now, when this person has turned 85 years old, they would have paid $500,000 in taxes. That's not all. They still might end up paying the state taxes. Now, remember why they did it? Remember I told you instant gratification? They did it because we got conned into saving $2,000. We went for the qualified plan. And so we like the idea of saving money on our tax bill each year. So we saved $68,000. But look what happens in retirement, and it chews it up. I'll show you this in another format in just a minute. So this is why you do not want qualified plans. It's going to destroy your taxes. You're going to have the IRS in bed with you in retirement, and you have no idea how much they're going to want when you retire. Now, let's talk about market risk. Time magazine did a great piece in October 2009 called Why It's Time to Retire the 401k. And they talked about what market risk actually does. And so this could apply to either qualified or non-qualified money, depending on what plan you've got, but most of them are all going to be in the market. And Tom talked about how you could plan 40 years, pay 40 years into your pension or into your program, and if the market tanks a couple of years before you retire, your dreams go up in smoke because the market took it all away. And so I'm going to show you how this works, and I'm going to show you the difference and why you do not want to have any plan, whether it's qualified or non-qualified, that's in the market. And let me pull up a little spreadsheet here. Now, and I told you I'm going to discuss the best plan and the best pension, all right? Actually, the pension is better than a lump sum, and I'll tell you why here in just a minute, too. But the best plan right here is a life insurance policy designed for retirement. Now, we're going to run a quote of a 40-year-old male, $100,000 into a 401k, qualified plan on this side. And here, this is a life insurance policy with a 13% cap, and the floor is at 0. So on this side, you're going to experience all the ups and all the downs. And this is the results, the actual results from the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the country. And this is what they have done over the last 16 years. And keep in mind that most brokerage accounts don't do this good, okay? So here's how it works. The first year in 1999 had a really good year, almost 20% gain, and the red account reflects it, while the blue account has more modest gain because it's got a cap up here, so 13% gain. But then the dot-com bubble came along in 9/11, and we had 3 bad years, and the money dropped down to $71,000. Here, the 0 became a support, and it stayed at $113,000. So there it goes. This side has bigger gains, 26 on this side, only 13 on this side. And people will say, well, you know, but I'm making 30% on my money. Yeah, I'm only making 13, but I'll beat you every time because I only have zeros while you have minuses. So let's look what happens 10 years later. 2008 comes along, 38% loss. So you've been in the market for 10 years, and you've got less money than when you started with after 10 years later, while the life insurance policy has $167,000. So it keeps going up and down. The end result is that at the end of 16 years, the managed account, the qualified money, has $167,000. Now, keep in mind, this could be non-qualified money also. You could have a brokeraged account, mutual fund, and it could get these same results. Or if they were lucky, they would get these same results. So at this point, up to this dollar amount right here, what you see on this red side could be qualified or non-qualified money. So the end result is, if it's in the market, the gain was $167,000 on the life insurance policy side, over $303,000, just about $304,000. Now, here is where the qualified money kicks in, because you've got fees in a 401k in these managed accounts. And we've got to take out taxes. So when it's all said and done, you had the dependable amount. Now remember, 16 years your money has grown, right? Ups and downs, white knuckles as you're tormented through the horrible years. You're wondering if it's ever going to stop dropping, and relieved when it finally turns around. And I know people that watch the market every day, and they're in stress over it. After all that stress, you end up being able to spend $81,000. Now, if it was non-qualified money, you would have the full $167,000. But look what happened on the life insurance side. Here we had to deduct for fees over here for the cost of insurance. You still ended up with $266,000. Now, let me run you a quote, and then we're going to talk about pensions, all right? So what we've done is we're going to continue with our quote. Let's see, I pulled one up here. Oh, let me tell you what we're going to do on the quote, all right? We're going to, let's put on the left side, we'll just call it the 401k, the qualified plan, or it could be an IRA. Oops, IRA. We're going to deposit the $100,000. And we're going to assume this employee has a is making monthly contributions of $200 a month. But they've got matching funds because it's a 401k, right? That's why everybody loves them. So you got 400 on this side. Now, on the life insurance policy, known as the IUL, we're only going to start with half of the amount, $50,000. You keep the other half for taxes, and we're only having half of the contributions because we don't get matching funds on this side. So let me tell you how this has got to work. In order to make it tax-free, it's got to be dumped in over 5 years. So it's 10 grand a year, ends up being $833 a month, okay? But then the first 5 years, we're going to have to add the $200 in there also. So when you see this policy, I'll explain to you. It'll be a little clearer. So here's what we've got, a standard rate, not even the best rate. So the first 5 years, it's got that $50,000 dumped into it, extra 10 grand a year. Now, notice right off the bat, you've got a death benefit of $453,000, all right? Remember we talked about death benefit? Here we go, 453 on the death benefit. Now, the critical illness rider, I could get you up to 90% of this money right here if you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. And folks, 7 out of 10 Americans will have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer by age 65. So this is a really huge benefit to have because you can end up with a lump sum while you're still living, known as living benefits. So here's what happens. We've got the death benefit over here, and the living benefits are taken from that number also. After the first 5 years, now it's $200 a month, all right? We don't get the matching funds. Now, here's the amount of cash you're able to pull out, $55,043, and that is good for age 120. So every year, you're able to pull out 55 grand a year. Now, let me show you what happens in the 401k. We've got $200 a month. We've got matching fees, so it's starting with twice the monthly amount in there, and it's twice the account because we started with 50,000. They've got 100,000 now. The rate of return was 3.28, was what the market actually did, and I bumped the fees down to only 2%. I'm going to retire at 65. Now, the income from the IUL, remember, was $55,000. Now, by the way, the account has grown to $276,000. Most people would be pretty tickled to retire with that kind of money in retirement. Look how long that lasts. If you're taking the same amount of money as you do with the life insurance, it runs out in 5 years. Oh, wait a minute. I made a mistake. We didn't take out taxes. This is what would happen if you had a qualified or non-qualified account. It would still run out of money super fast. But this one is a qualified account, so we got to take out taxes. And now look what happens. Your money runs out in 3 years. Now, here's the difference between a pension and a pot of gold like here. Now, here's what this family did. They retired with $276,000. The wife says, Harry, we need 55 grand a year because that's what we could have got if we had a life insurance policy. So the first year they take out that income with taxes kicked in there. It's had some growth, but you also have fees. The end of the first year, they say, wait a minute, we had 276,000. Now we're basically at 200 grand. We're going to run out of money in no time. And so what happens is now they don't know how long they're going to live. And they don't know how long that money is going to last. All they know is they can't keep spending it the way they are. So what do? They live off of 8, 10, 12 grand a year. And these are the kind of folks we all know. They're broke. They're driving a 20-year-old car when they're 75 years old because they can't afford a new one. They can't afford a new roof on the house. And so there's so many variables. They don't know how to make that money last. And so they usually die with some left over because they were afraid to spend it. Whereas with the life insurance policy, you know you have this tax-free money, guys, tax-free every year, and you're never going to run out. So you can plan your life. So that is pretty much the difference right there. The best pension plan right there, it's life, a life insurance policy, specially designed for retirement. It's got tax-free distribution, totally tax-free. It's going to have a death benefit. It's going to have a critical illness rider and no market risk. So, guys, that's where you want to put your money. If you want to know more or if you'd like a quote I'll be glad to talk to you on the phone, or we can do a screen share. I'll be glad to help you with your money, but folks, do not put it into a qualified account. Okay, Uncle Sam will love you if you do, but you're going to find your money just shrinks up and blows away in retirement. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope that helped.